Hi everyone, welcome to the Module 1, Section 5 on the effects of bias on teaching and learning. In this section, we will talk about the cognitive bias, analyzing how bias can affect the teaching and learning, and see some strategies to reduce or mitigate challenges in music education. So the cognitive bias, his origin was first time introduced by researchers like Amos and Daniel Kahneman in 1972. This concept influences decision making in a wide range of areas, including social behavior, cognition, education, and healthcare. Cognitive bias, it's indeed a systematic error or flaws in how humans process information and make decisions, which are widespread and shared across the human population. These biases can be caused by limitation in our cognitive abilities, by our motivation and emotions influencing our judgment, or by the way our minds have adapted to function without our natural surrounding. The important key are that these biases are systematic, meaning they follow consistent patterns, and they are found in all humans to some degree, and they stem from a combination of these cognitive, motivational, and environmental factors that shape our perception and decision-making process. The causes of cognitive bias can be limitation in information processing capacity. Humans have finite cognitive resources and ability to process information, and this leads to shortcuts and simplification. And we can only attend to and remember a limited amount of information at a time. There is a reliance and heuristic and mental shortcuts. We often use rule of thumb heuristic to quickly make judgment and decision rather than fully analyze all the information. And this heuristic can introduce systematic errors, of course, and biases. There are some influence of prior experience and knowledge. For example, imagine if you had a bad experience, this will be kept in your mind. So our existing beliefs, memories, and knowledge shape how we perceive and interpret some information. And this can lead to confirmation bias and other biases that favor information consistent. Emotional, there are causes as emotional, for example, fear of from see other people as diverse, different from us, and motivational factors. Indeed, our emotion, desire, and motivation can unconsciously influence our judgments and decision making. We may be biased toward information that align with or support our preference and a goal. Adaptation to the environment. Many cognitive bias may have involved an efficient mental strategies for navigating the natural and social world. And these biases might have been adaptive in our evolutionary past, but can lead to many errors in modern context. And social and cultural influence, the norms, the beliefs, and the behavior of our social group and culture shape our own cognition and bias. We have a tendency to conform to the decisions and judgment of those around us. So who is around us can very easily make our decision and judgment to be influenced by the other, because we live in the society, and what the other thinks is very important also for us. But what is an implicit bias? An implicit bias is an unconscious association, belief, or attitude that a person has toward a particular social group. This implicit bias can lead people to attribute certain qualities or characteristics to all members of that group, a phenomenon known as stereotyping. We spoke about this in the module 6, session 4. You can see more deeply this information. And also it's important to understand that implicit bias operate at the inconscious level, unlike explicit bias and prejudice, which are intentional and more controllable. A person indeed may consciously disapprove of a certain belief or attitude, but still harbor similar biases on a more subconscious level. This implicit association do not necessarily align with an individual's conscious sense of self or identity. In fact, people can even hold positive or negative biases about their personal characteristics without fully realizing. And another key distinction, it's extremely important to understand the importance of what means implicit bias, because this can influence our decision and behavior. So what the tool that we have is to have only the recognition and the awareness of what means implicit bias. This for promote fairness and equality and gentleness to the people that we meet in our career. Indeed, in our work as a teacher and in learning experience of students with disabilities, bias can significantly impact the teaching and learning experience of students with disabilities in music education. People with different that can be seen different from us, and because we don't know how it is, or we don't understand very well some points, and we are afraid of the new and the diverse, can put us in the situation that we can manifest in various ways and have determinant effects on the student's self-esteem, motivation, and overall education outcomes. Some researcher has shown that music educator may feel unprepared to work with students with disabilities and express a need for adequate levels of instruction support. And it has been found that music educators generally have positive attitudes toward mainstream, but may express negative attitudes regarding the integration of students with certain disabilities in general music classrooms. So, how bias affects the teacher and learning experience of students with disabilities? In some point, stereotyping and low expectation can influence the teaching and learning experience of students with disabilities. Indeed, biases can lead stereotyping, and teachers may assume that these students have limited musical abilities and potential, leading to reduced opportunities for participation and advancement. This result in students can feel as they are under-evaluated and discouraged from fully engaging in music-related activities. So this is the outcome. Researchers also indicate that there are significant associations between music ensemble participation and various factors as gender, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, parents' education, and the number of students with disabilities increases. The ability of music educators to differentiate instruction for those students becomes really important to do. So studies highlight that students with disabilities are often not fully included in music education practices and are not considered as future professionals in the field of music. What can be done in this situation? So here are some strategies for mitigate bias related challenges in music education. So teachers should challenge their own biases and adopt a growth mindset when working with students with disabilities, even if it's something extremely new, if it can be very scary. By setting high expectation, providing appropriate support, and fostering a positive learning environment, teachers can help students realize their musical potential and achieve meaningful progress. Lack of accessibility, it's another bias that can affect teaching and learning. Bias can result in a lack of accessibility in music education for students with disabilities. Physical barriers, limited adaptive equipment, or inaccessible teaching materials can prevent students from fully participating in music classes or accessing musical instruments. The strategy is that teachers should prioritize accessibility by making necessary accommodations and modification to learning environment. This may involve providing assistive technology, adapting teaching methods, or making physical spaces and instruments more accessible. Inclusive music education curricula and resources should be also developed to ensure all students can engage with music. Another bias that can become is social exclusion and stigmatization. Bias can contribute to social exclusion and stigmatization of students with disabilities. Peers may hold misconception or negative attitudes toward these students, leading to isolation, to reduce opportunities for collaboration and social interaction, of course, that is extremely important. What can be done is that promoting inclusivity and fostering a supportive classroom environment for all. And it's extremely crucial, this fact. Teachers can facilitate peer education and raise awareness about abilities, encouraging empathy and understanding among students. Collaborative music making activities and ensemble participation can help build positive relationship and create a sense of belonging. Another bias is limited representation. Bias can result in limited representation of students with disabilities in music education, materials, performance, and opportunities. This lack of representation can reinforce stereotypes and future marginalization of these students. What can be done is that teachers should actively seek out and incorporate diverse musical examples and role models representing individuals with disabilities, including music composed or performed by artists with disabilities, can help broaden students' perspective and challenge stereotypes. Additionally, providing opportunities for students with disabilities to showcase their talent and participate in performance can promote inclusivity and celebrate their achievement. Thank you very much for your attention, and here are some references that you can use for to work and read more about we talked in this section.